This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports. This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is November 5th. This is Prim and Proper Sports. I'm your host, Sonja. Tonight is going to be, I'm live. Let me just go ahead and put that out there. No class tonight. So everybody that wants to comment, you can come on and say hi, and I will make sure I say hello to you. Thank you so much for Bistrilla, the production behind the beats, the intro, all the stuff you see behind the scenes. And shout out to the realest real creator, Pink Fan Fur. She's the one that does all the promos. And thank you for hosting me on your platform tonight. I got some streams to share here. I'm trying to get them all done. I didn't realize how quick that intro is until I'm having to do all the stuff behind and in front of the scenes. So hope everybody's enjoying their week. We are officially on the week 9 recap. And what can I say? My Panthers have bounced back. I'm going to start with that because y'all know I'm a Panthers fan. We have bounced back, okay, against all the naysayers, and we are undefeated when being underdogs. Now, I will say, I think there's a caveat to that because I'm pretty sure we were underdogs against the Buffalo Bills last couple of weeks back. Let's just put it like that. And we were routed, but that was without Bryce Young. Andy Dalton was at the helm quarterbacking in Bryce's sabbatical, his break there. But Bryce came back and was on fire. Shout out to the Panthers defense, to the entire team. Let's be clear. Rose Boom really got the boom going for the defense there. The over-under was 13.5 points against Green Bay. They thought that they were going to beat us by 2 touchdowns. I'm sure you guys saw my live right after the show. After the game, I went on and immediately was like, hey, for all you guys who had a 13.5 point deficit over us, the points were 13. That's all Green Bay actually scored. And shout out to our field goal kicker, Mr. Ryan Fitzgerald, who made sure at the last second he nailed the PAT for a 16-13 win over the Green Bay Packers. Now, Sunday, because I'm going to get to all the games we got coming up here a little bit shortly, the Panthers have the New Orleans Saints, the NFC South divisional matchup. The first time we're going to be seeing the Saints this season in Charlotte. That game is Sunday. But enough of that. You know, I talk about all my Sunday games on Friday night with the fellas. So make sure you guys are here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to join me then so that we could talk. But y'all say hello when you come on. I see everybody saying coming on and everything. Drop if you were satisfied with your team's performance this past week. Got a lot of NFL news, but give me 1 second here, guys, so I can get some more shares here going. This thing, I don't know if there's an issue with Facebook. So I really apologize for those who are not able to go directly to the page. I am in the process of trying to figure out what's going on with that now and making sure that all these lives get shared to the proper channel. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share this now to the Carolina Panthers page, as well as all of the other pages and affiliates that have been so gracious to host us. I want to give a shout out to Keep Pounding and Keep Pounding Worldwide groups that let us come on all the time, Carolina Panthers fan pages and the 24 Sports group. So, all right, guys, let's get started with this NFL news here. Lots of trades that went on today. Several major stories emerged in the wake of the trade deadline that's been coming up. Several key player injury updates also will be talked about tonight. And but we got to get to those stories as we go. Right now, let's just look at the fact of what we have going on in the world of trades. Big news: Rashid Shaheed, the New Orleans Saints, is no longer a Saint. Now, right before we are playing them, you guys know the Saints have had a little bit of quarterback woes, though. You know, they have some rookies there. They decided not to go with Spencer Rattler. Now Tyler Shough is at the helm, and you know, they have their new coach. I think next year we may be looking at a different Saints team. But for right now, Rashid Shaheed has gone on from the Saints. We'll talk about that in just a minute. The Arizona Cardinals, let's talk about our injuries first, have placed their quarterback Kyler Murray on injury reserve. Unfortunately, he is ruled out with this big injury here. And not only that, but another big name out west, CJ Stroud, is going to be missing week number 10 on injured reserve because he's out for concussion protocol. Additionally, the Jets linebacker, Quincy Williams, he's lost his starting job now following the team's busy trade deadline. And then looking at things that a combination of injuries and trades is what's going on. Let me see real quick, guys. I think my comments, I may have to go to my page here because I know you guys are on, but I don't see the comments populating. So give me one moment because I want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm here and that I will be attentive to your comments. I always see them like after the fact. So let me make sure I'm on here real quick just to make sure you guys are greeted accordingly. All right, so let's see what we got here. But you guys make sure you say hello and all that good stuff. What's up to everybody coming in? Okay, so yeah, back to what I was saying. Quincy Jones, the Jets linebacker, is no longer a Jet, you guys. He definitely moved along, but we're going to get to that in a moment. The Cardinals placed Kyler Murray, their quarterback, on injured reserve due to a mid-foot sprain. Y'all know this is the time of season that a lot of injuries are starting to pile up on players or what have you. And so it's always the caveat that everybody's playing injured. Shout out to Rico Dowdle, who played continuously injured in our game on Sunday. Y'all gonna hear me keep getting plugs for the Panthers the entire broadcast. So just get used to it. I'm happy. I'm gonna be happy, and I'm proud of us. We finished 5-12 last year, and we are just a mere one game behind the Bucs to claim the South right now. So I'm gonna be tooting my horn and the Panthers' horn for the duration. Of course, Kyler Murray is going to be sidelined for 4 games, guys. Jacoby Brissett, y'all remember him from the Indianapolis Colts? Well, he's going to continue to start in his place. So We're going to see kudos to the Cardinals for getting the upset over Dallas, 27-17. Y'all did that. By the way, I picked the upset because you just never know what type of Dallas team you're going to get. CJ Stroud, like I mentioned early on, he's going to miss week 10 because this is going to be against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's still in concussion protocol. Davis Mills is going to start for Houston. I don't know too much about Mr. Mills, but we will, or we shall know more about him after Sunday's matchup. Now, Quincy Williams from the Jets told the media, guys, he actually came out and was like, he was benched after personnel news from the Jets, which saw trades throughout today, yesterday, what have you. Several key players trade deadline, of course, being the big news. Now, the general manager of the Jets, Darren Muge, I guess I'm saying that right, pushed back against the notion that the recent trades for defensive players like Williams and Sauce Gardner. That is big news. Freaking Sauce, y'all. The sauce is over for the Jets. I feel bad for Aaron Glenn. He went to this team and thought that this team was gonna, be his building point. And I honestly thought that was gonna be the same thing, but we just don't see that. So, right now, they are clearly in a rebuild, even though they have Aaron Glenn there, Mr. Him doing the same move. I think they're going to be better at some point. I just don't know when. They're saying basically, though, and fans are looking at it as a teardown and a rebuilding strategy. The Cowboys, I mentioned them falling to the Arizona Cardinals. The team is celebrating their acquisition of defensive tackle Quinnen Williams from the Jets and linebacker Logan Wilson, believing that this is going to help their struggling defense. The defense has not been that best for Dallas this year. So those guys are ready to get to work, I'm sure. General manager of the Buffalo Bills, Brandon Beane, actually stated that the Bills were in active trade discussions but could not get a deal done. I'm noting it takes two to tango, he was quoted as saying, but he did express continued interest and confidence in their team, saying that he believes that they can win a championship with the roster they have. I'm going to keep my comment to myself on that because we saw what they looked like against the Panthers, and they did look like championship caliber, but who knows? The Eagles general manager, Howie Roseman, is explaining his decision, meanwhile, to keep wide receiver A.J. Brown at the deadline. A lot of people were thinking that he was going to go elsewhere. Well, he's there. He said, listen, we're championship contenders again. Y'all might call us greedy, what have you, but we're trying to run this thing back. So we're keeping where we are, and we do not trade away elite players. Like, don't even ask. Don't come knocking. We're not interested. The Commanders, who unfortunately, if y'all did not see that game, the Washington Commanders lost Jaden Daniels with an ugly, gruesome dislocation of his arm, elbow, what have you. They've been real mum on speaking on that. But that injury was really, really bad. Marcus Mariota getting a chance at starting QB again for a struggling Washington team. Now, let's be clear. Washington has not looked like the Washington they were last year at all. At all. I mean, Jaden's been out for a few weeks, just came back, and now he's out again. So, anyway, Frankie LaVue got fined. He was supposed to be suspended, or you know how Frankie LaVue is, former Panther. He's been on a couple other teams as well. He got $100,000 fine upon appeal, making him eligible to play in Sunday's game against the Lions. And so I'm just like, whoa, and whoa. We just try to figure out what's going on here. Let's look at a couple of other things we got going on. All right, so these are our recaps. Of course, we had our Thursday night game that was, it started off, week number 9, started off October 30th, Halloween Eve. And it was Youngsville. I'm sorry, guys. I just, Ravens and Dolphins, and then Sunday's games, a bunch of scores. So Bears and Bengals, a lot of close games because at this time of year, teams are trying to play and be relevant and possibly solidify some type of playoff contention. So everybody's showing up, and you just never know which Bengals team you're going to get. Right when you think, okay, the Bengals are done, then Joe Flacco pulls a miracle out, and he gets it done. So it looked like that's what was going to happen when they fought, or should I say, played the Bears. And the Bears edged them. Very, very close, but edged them nonetheless. Vikings and Lions was another surprise game. I know so many people, myself included, that never thought with J.J. McCarthy at the helm that they were going to look like the Vikings we thought they were going to look like. But watch out, NFC North. The Vikings look like they're going to be straight contenders. They knocked off the Detroit Lions, guys. And with us, the Panthers knocking out the Packers, and then the Lions getting knocked down by the Vikings. The NFC North is a battle for anybody, especially with the Bears looking as good as they do right now. All right, so then we got the Broncos and Texans. Just when you think the Broncos are that team, defensive, blah, 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 we saw them against New York earlier, and they looked horrible, and they barely pulled it out. And they barely pulled it out again against the Texans. 18-15 was the final score. Falcons and Patriots. Patriots led the majority of the game, and at the very end, it looked like a small rally by Atlanta, but it was too little too late. And those one-point games are absolute heartbreakers. But if you're the winning team, you are thrilled. Let's be clear, though. Anytime you see a one-point game, some team did not play their true 4 quarters. That's all a one-point game means. There were either so many mistakes the entire duration of the game, or somebody didn't play all 4 quarters. And that's what a one-point decision comes down to. But a win's a win. Patriots move on. Drake May looking outstanding. So when you guys first saw him go to the Patriots from UNC Chapel Hill, shout out to Bill Belichick, who's now their coach. He was not when Drake was there, but he's there now. It's such an irony. Drake May, I just thought about it. Drake goes to New England, Bill Belichick's former team that he coached in the NFL, and Bill Belichick is now coaching Drake May's former college team at University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. So what a switcheroo. I never even thought about that. And it's a mess now, too. Drake May is looking like the Patriots may be sure contenders for the AFC. So watch out for them, guys. It's been a long time coming. They have not been relevant. Sorry, Keith, my friend Keith Engel. That's one of the colleagues here on the network. They haven't been, really that relevant. They're okay, but not as much as they are now. Kind of a lot of chatter about the Patriots. So they're getting that done against the Falcons. I will say that was my one and done route for them for the season because they were against the Falcons. 49ers versus the Giants. Giants got beat 34-24. The Giants are and with Cam Scatterboo being out, and then Malik Neighbors was out of this last matchup, I don't know what's going to happen with New York after the season is over. They went with Scatterboo and Dart and everybody to try to have a win now mentality. Y'all, I think their problem are not going to even wait much longer to start cleaning house. But is it really their fault? Like, is it really, if your main players are injured, why is that your fault? Is it because that's a recruitment issue? If you don't have someone to step up to come in to try to help out and solidify those plays in the absence of your big names, then that's not necessarily a coaching issue. That's your recruitment center. Who's doing the recruiting? Now, if you're one of these teams that your coach is everything, they're the manager, they're recruiting and everything, then okay, that's fine because you didn't do your right recruiting. But it's a gamble anyway, guys, when you got a bunch of rookies. Like I always tell people, there's an acclamation to the NFL. There is even the greatest player, Heisman Trophy winners, like we have one ourselves, Bryce Young. everybody doesn't come into the league ready to ball out. It's, the league is everybody's great. In college, if you're playing with some greats to get to a greater level, but in NFL, you're playing against the great of the great and competing with the great of the great just for that role on the team, that roster. So I don't really agree with that notion. Chargers barely beat the Titans. The Titans almost got their first win. I found myself, even though I had picked the Chargers in my pick'ems for the week, I found myself really rooting for the Titans. I really, wanted them to be able to get this thing started. Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback, he's there, but so much talent that I feel like is masked at this point because it's Tennessee. They have Calvin Ridley that's been out. So it's not a lot for them right now. I'm sorry to my Titans fans. I do know a few, but I just don't know what Tennessee needs. I think their biggest mistake was firing Mike Vrabel. I felt like when they got him, he was in the process of at least getting them a little better. And I feel as if some franchises, as soon as they see that there's some type of production and productivity from the team and growth and hey, we may not be winning like titles, but we're competitive again, they move on. Either there's a difference with, them not wanting to pay them, or another team, grabs them up like, hey, we need them. And it's just a cycle that never ends. You're either replacing your quarterback or you're replacing your coach. Quarterback, coach, quarterback, coach. And when you're like that, you're never going to be we're going to win this season, because every season you got a new major person that is replacing the prior one. So 27-20 though, good fight, Tennessee. Way to tighten up at least a little bit. The next game nobody saw coming. Aaron Rodgers had just faced Green Bay, and I'm going to plug in again who the Panthers ended up beating. And he could not become the fifth person that would beat all 32 teams in the league. He wanted to join Brett Favre, Tom Brady, a couple of other players. I don't remember at the moment. But nonetheless, he wanted to beat Green Bay so he could join that ranking, right? And Jordan Love made sure he showed the love and did not let him win. Well, they played the Indianapolis Colts last Sunday. And I, for one, was like, okay, the Colts have been on something. Like, Jonathan Taylor has been balling out. There is no way you don't stop Mr. Taylor, okay? Well, the Steelers said we will, and they did. So they get the win, another 1 point one score, I should say, deciding game, 27-20 in the end. Steelers get the win against the Indianapolis Colts, who have become so relevant in AFC Championship talk these days. Saints and Rams. Now, I honestly thought for a little bit that the Saints were hanging in there until they were not. This is not even a discussion worth having. Saints, of course, lose to the Rams 34-10. 34-10. Jacksonville Jaguars and the Raiders go overtime. Pete Carroll and those Raiders, led by Geno Smith, against Trevor Lawrence, who, by the way, has an injured Travis Hunter, so did not play in that matchup. They went overtime all the way down to the very end, 30-29, like another 1 point game. And so Jaguars get it done, and Raiders drop again. Now, the Thursday night game that's coming up tomorrow is going to feature the Raiders versus the Broncos. Now, you guys know that's a matchup. They have like this serious rivalry, and just be on the lookout for the upset, because like I said, the Broncos have not been playing astute football for a while now. They've just been barely getting by. And the Raiders may pull this one off. Of course, Chiefs and Bills game. I honestly did not care who won this game because of what the Bills did to the Panthers a couple of weeks back. And I'm normally a Josh Allen fan. And I guess in the end, I'm more of a Josh Allen fan than I am kind of like that I don't like the Chiefs, excuse me. So it's like the same way I don't like the Chiefs, because I just, like, a lot of people just don't like them. Like, no rhyme or reason. We're just sick of them, We're so glad that, by the way, the Panthers have the same record as they do. okay, that I wanted the Bills to win that game, and they did by one score, 28-21. So kudos to the Bills for getting two in a row. So they said that the Panthers let them break their losing streak, and now they clearly have won two in a row. So kudos to JA and your crew. Seahawks and Commanders. Is there any stopping Sam Darnold? Some quarterbacks, guys, go to other teams and just really flourish. Now, y'all know Sam came from the Jets. I think he was with the Rams for a little bit. Then he came to the Panthers and then was with the Rams. And now he's with the Seahawks. And it looks like he's found his home. The Seahawks look good, y'all. I mean, it was against the Commanders. And, of course, Jane Daniels went down with that ugly injury. But before he even got injured, that game was a wrap. And that's the reason why a lot of Commanders fans are even angry about that game, because that game was so far gone that Jaden should have been just brought on out, especially with him coming back from an injury. And right after he was injured, Seattle made the decision to go ahead and take Darnold out of the game as well, just for protective measures, because at this point, what are you playing for? The game ended at 38-14. It was a wrap. I don't know where Seattle is headed. They look like the early Russell Wilson days, the 2015 year when the Panthers played them, and we were all, catalysts and contestants for the playoffs. And we do play Seattle this year, and we will be ready. So for my friend Bo and all you Seahawks fans out there, we're coming. All right, and then of course, you have the Cardinals and Cowboys game that I talked about here shortly, 27-17. I just have no words for Dallas. You just never know which Dallas you're going to get. So which team are you guys? I still am sitting here trying to see if I can see comments. And I just feel like there's no way that y'all are this quiet. I see a lot of people on here. This is what happens when I can't, if I go to my YouTube page, I can't see the comments, and I'll see them as soon as I get off. And then that's when it'll be like, oh, hey guys. So let me just go ahead and take a moment now to say hi to everybody coming on. I do see you. I just can't reply to you for some reason. So I do want to say hello. What's up, Bernard? Hi. I do see Bernard on there. Okay. They are RG3 in him. Yeah, that's the thing. So everybody in Washington was saying that. This is like the Theismann injury. The RG3 injury was the same down, the same period through the game. And such a similar, and you guys know RG3 just never bounced back from that. And so when you look at things like that, you have to look at what is going on in Washington. His mother was livid. But anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and talk about the college rankings now. College football, y'all. This is the time of year that everybody is where they should be, or are they? They have literally like a couple of weeks left to try to move things around. Ohio State continues to be at the top of the spot after a win over Penn State. So this is like they're remaining this week. The rankings come out. And this is the top 25 AP rankings after the opponent's week. Now, they had week 10 for the college football player rankings. And then week 11, of course, now is out. Now with Ohio State being undefeated at the top, followed by Indiana, who is also undefeated. And then Texas A&M, guys, they are still undefeated. Like, you cannot lose any games to be in the top up here. Alabama is 7-1. They lost one game, but they're still there. Georgia is moving up a little bit in the rankings here. And then if you just look around, these teams are the ones that you want to make sure that you don't have to see them. Or if you see them, you better make sure that you are ready to play against these teams, because it could get really crazy really quick. Of course, a lot of games coming up this weekend. I will be live on Friday at 9 p.m. where I talk with the guys about all the college games that are coming up on the weekend, which is Saturday. And then some of them do actually kick off Friday. We do want to talk about Ohio State winning against Penn State. That was a big game. Indiana had a strong record and a big win for them. And then Texas A&M and Alabama, they're bye weeks, but they have solid records going into the rankings. And Georgia, their big win against Florida. Y'all know it's a Georgia-Florida game. They have this thing every year. This is part of who they are. The AP poll largely mirrors the CFP rankings, and so Ohio State is also number one on that ranking. So kudos to all the Buckeyes fans out there. There's a lot of implications of the initial rankings because sometimes with these other teams that come around and they have, a better record or they end up having to play them in the end, then that's when you get a chance to kind of figure out what's going on. Yeah, Bernard, Texas being 12 is overrated. Yeah. I guess, and Ohio and Indiana do have some cupcake schedules. I mean, a lot of people are saying that, and that's why they're like that. But what about Oregon? The Ducks, they're usually quacking, and they're not too far off. I mean, 6 of the top 12 playoff brackets are SEC, but you guys know this comes from that big merger that happened a couple of, was it 2 seasons now, where they had the Big Ten come in with the Red River rivalry and all those folks. And I think at some time they're probably just going to make this two divisions. I think we're going to have an SEC and then whoever else they decide to just make it, because it's just a lot of money involved, a lot of politics involved. Politics meaning like, a lot of these schools have a lot of money behind them based on, let's be clear, people that are very important people in their communities. And so they make sure that the big money goes behind the big programs to keep them where they need to be. So that's going to be important. Let me make sure before I hop off of here that I don't have anything I have missed as far as news, because I had my I just want to make sure I give you guys everything. Shout out before I hop off, though, to the LA Dodgers, y'all. Freddie Freeman, the former Falcon, no ma'am. Freddie Freeman, the former Atlanta Braves, and the LA Dodgers are your world champions. Congratulations to them. They had a lot of big stuff. I know I don't talk about baseball too much, but I'm super excited for him to be able to get another ring, and just sensational. All right, so let's see. Make sure I got everybody on here. Oh, guys. All right, there are some Vikings trade rumors that were supposed to have gone down before 3 p.m. on Tuesday, but we don't see that. And according to USA Today, the Chiefs actually were interested in Breece Hall, but the Jets turned them down. The Jets are, I don't know, they are trying to line up their people because they're like, listen, we are losing a lot of people, and we need to make sure that we are doing what we have to do to get, they can't continue the way they are now. Let's be clear, they cannot. So, all right, guys. So I think that is all I have. Just want to make sure, because every time I come on here, as soon as I log off, there'll be something else up when I get ready to come back on for the next day. Let's see. How about this? I will give you guys a small preview so you can get a chance to think about who your picks are for the Week 10 matchup. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit more on Friday with my Friday night show. Bernard says the Big 10 is the big lose. Buccaneers are favored over the Patriots. Oh, wow. Guess what? Patriots may get my vote one more time to win. I need them to beat the Bucs so that the Panthers can go ahead and move into the number 1 spot for the NFC South. Buccaneers are actually favored over the Patriots in that matchup, and y'all are not going to believe this. This is according to ESPN. The Packers are favored over the Eagles. Now, that's why you say any given Sunday, because any given Sunday is literally your gauge. Like, it can happen any given Sunday. Kudos to the Panthers, who were underdogs 9 times, and they are undefeated every time they're underdogs. And people say we're not underdogs for Sunday, and I don't want them to say that because it's the Saints and it's a divisional matchup, and we just don't need those type of issues. So kudos to them. But these games that are coming on this week, Indianapolis Colts and Atlanta Falcons are going to be playing in Berlin at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday. Let's go Colts. Do what you have to do. I didn't even realize that the Falcons got the nerve to gas up a jet or whatever they're getting on the fly somewhere. The way their team is looking, 3-5, garbage. But anyway, of course, we've already talked about the Raiders and Broncos are going to kick off week number 10 tomorrow. Y'all, we are only 8 more weeks and the season's a wrap. Of course, the Indianapolis Colts are probably already over there. And then the afternoon matchups, I told you guys the Pats are versus the Bucks. The LA Rams are going to be playing against the 49ers. Those are a lot of divisional implications this week. I guess that's what they did, except for the Falcons and Colts game. By the way, the Panthers play the Falcons the following Sunday in Atlanta, November 16th. And the Detroit Lions are playing the Commanders. So this is my thing. Last year, Detroit got obliterated in the NFC Championship game by the Washington Commanders. I seriously doubt that's going to happen this Sunday. Number one, Jaden's not there. And number two, even with Jaden there, he's not 100% healthy. And Terry McLaurin is not there either. So you see Deebo Samuel and you see a couple other stars, but you can only do with so much if you're a Commander. So I just don't see the Lions, especially dropping 2 in a row, and I definitely don't see them losing to the Commanders. So look for a retribution game against them. The Chargers will be hosting, the LA Chargers will be hosting the Steelers. Can the Steelers go for a second one in a row or not, since this game is on the west side? And they're going to be wrapping up Sunday night action. Everybody's following Aaron Rodgers. Like, they're giving him another Sunday night slot. Let's see. Bernard saying, if my Falcons lose to the Panthers, Raheem is getting fired. You know, Bernard, I mean, the Panthers are coach killers. We got Dan Quinn fired for you guys. Yeah, I remember watching that game. It was 2021. Yeah, because I was at a cabin with one of my friends. She doesn't really get into football. We were watching the game, and all the announcers were talking about Arthur Blank being on the field waiting for the game to wrap up. And it's like everybody knew that Dan was going to get marched up out of there. So I don't know why y'all firing Raheem is what I'm getting at. Like, y'all can fire everybody. Y'all fire somebody every couple of years. We're not the problem. It's something going on with you guys. I don't know. Y'all may as well send Bijan to Carolina. I love him. He's awesome. Send Bijan to a talented team, not where you guys are. And Bernard also says he could see the Packers beating the Eagles, Colts over the Falcons. Oh, yeah, he's calling it. By the way, Bernard King has his own show, guys. He's commenting. I want to go ahead and give him a small plug. He was supposed to be on with me this evening, but he is had a little issue with his voice because he does so much talking with his show. But hopefully he can join us either next week or the following week. I really need him to come on the Wednesday after November 16th because that's after we give them that beat down, because he'll really have something to talk about then. And he said the ownership sucks. But anyway, this week is going to look at the Eagles facing Green Bay in a wild card rematch on Monday night. That's wild. 8:15. Now that game is going to be highly watched and anticipated live from the Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And it's a bye week for these teams right here, but they probably would take an L even in the bye week. The Cincinnati Bengals, shout out to Joe Flacco. The Dallas Cowboys, Dakota Ray and Prescott. The Tennessee Titans, I always mix up him, or I don't know if it's Cam Ward or Jackson Dart. I think Dart is in Tennessee. Mr. Dart and the Kansas City Chiefs. Patty Mayonnaise Mahomes, Mr. Patricia Mahomes, Pat Mahomes. They're all on a bye week. So that's what's going on in the games now. I will tell you guys the odds just because Bernard talked about winners and losers, so I'm going to give you guys that. Bernard says he'll be there. The Raiders and Broncos game, guys, that is a negative 9.5 points. They are thinking the Raiders are going to get beat by at least basically 10 points in that game. The Falcons game versus the Colts is 6.5 points. So they're expecting the Falcons to get beat by a touchdown and a half, 2 touchdowns, a touchdown and a field goal. Cam Ward is in Tennessee. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Ward is in Tennessee. Dart is in New York. I don't know why I got those guys mixed up. Thank you for that, Bernard. Yeah, so New York Giants versus the Bears. Believe it or not, guys, they only got a 3.5 point spread on that one because New York, sometimes you get a different New York. So 3.5 point spread. Buffalo Bills versus Miami. They got 9.5 points for the Bills to win against Miami. And the Patriots versus the Bucks. Now that's a close one. Only 2.5. They think it's going to come down to a field goal, and they think that the Buccaneers are going to get it done. Jacksonville is even less than that with the Texans. They only gave them a 1.5 point spread. So this thing may come down to a safety with those two. They're both in the AFC South. It's a divisional matchup. It's time for them to get things done. I don't know if, Bernard, since you've been commenting and stuff, is Travis Hunter expected to come back? I don't know. The injury he had, it sounds like he may be out a couple of weeks, maybe more. But if you know for sure, put that in there, or if he's a game time decision. But that is less than a field goal score for them, with the Texans supposedly winning it. Cleveland Browns are supposed to win over the Jets. Only 2.5 points over there. The Browns organization is a whole different thing. Now, this is where y'all may have gotten smart. Thank you so much, Vegas, for not doing dumb stuff and saying that the Panthers have a 5.5 point spread over the New Orleans Saints. You guys may be straight on that because it may come down to 2 field goals or it may come down to just 1 touchdown. But nonetheless, 5.5 is probably accurate because the Saints are not that bad that they're not going to play. Let's get it clear, and it's a divisional matchup. So, shout out to my boy J Train. The Baltimore Ravens, after the way the Vikings stood up to the Lions, folks have rethought their analysis, and they are only giving the Ravens 4.5 points over the Vikings. They are not dumb at all. And thanks for the start, Bernard. They are not dumb at all, because they're realizing J.J. McCarthy is back, and these are his Vikings, and this is what he's going to do. So, yeah, that's where they are. Arizona Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Even though the Cardinals did defeat Dallas, now without Kyler Murray, and they're bringing in Jacoby Brissett. I think this is Jacoby or Mills, one of those two guys. 6.5 points. They think they're going to beat them by a touchdown. I think it's going to be more than that. And that game is in Seattle. I think this is going to get blown out of the water. NFC West matchup. By the way, did y'all know the Panthers originally were the NFC West when they first started? Crazy, right? I don't know how they loop these teams up. That's kind of like Dallas being in the NFC East and they're in the West. I never understood that, but that's where they are. Detroit has a 9.5 point spread over the Commanders. And they're probably going to get that and then some. I would give Detroit probably 15 points, honestly. And that is speaking very big. I honestly think they beat them. They may put up a 40 burger against these guys. It's going to be ugly. Let's see. Yep, they went and got Jacoby Myers. He's going to be out long term. Okay, thank you for that, Bernard. Talking about going back to what game? I think your comment may be a little delayed. What game is that you were talking about? Who is out? Which game, Bernard? Is that the Cardinals game? Or is that which game? I don't know. I don't know where you're commenting. You'll have to comment that. Anyway, Los Angeles Rams against the 49ers. That's a little closer, 4.5 points. They're expecting the Rams to beat the 49ers. I think they got that wrong. Let me go ahead and put that out there now. Just a different 49ers team. Everybody's battling injuries. Pittsburgh versus the Chargers is an even shorter distance for that matchup. 2.5 points Sunday night football. Oh, Travis Hunter. Okay, thank you, Bernard. Travis Hunter's going to be out for the duration. So, Jags, you're going to have to fight your way through it. Considering y'all had the opener against the Panthers, it is what it is. And then the Eagles and Green Bay, which is the Monday night game, they are thinking that's going to come down to the wire with only a 2.5 point spread. And I really, really, really believe that because these two teams are going to battle, and we're in double digits of the week, and that's what's going to happen there. And yeah. All right, guys. So I'm going to hop on off of here. I got to get back to studying. It's been really awesome hanging out with you all. Thanks for the likes, loves, comments. Bernard, I really appreciate you hanging in there with me and commenting and keeping the conversation engaging and entertaining. And thanks for being an honest Falcon fan. And you guys make sure you join me in a couple of weeks when Bernard is on the show. So 16, 17, November 18th should be the night that we're on live together. I will be out of class, so I'll definitely be live on Wednesday. And make sure you guys join me this Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for myself. Friday with the Fellas, I'm joined by Strilla, the Detroit Lions fan and my production partner here, as well as James J. Train Martin, who is a New Orleans Saints extraordinaire fan. So you're not going to want to miss that. Here go all my comments. Oh, my God, guys, I feel horrible. You're not going to want to miss that show. Hang on, guys. So I just want to tell you guys. What's up, Steve-O? I'm so sorry. I'm just seeing this. So for some reason, and then I see all of Bernard's comments. So for some reason, the comments were not there, but they are there now. And the silliness just continues with the tech stuff. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. By the way, a little preview here. Monday in Atlanta, at least, it's going to be frigid. I'm talking about low in the 20s and the high in the 40s. So get ready. Ready or not, we're getting a nice early preview of what winter will look like for the Southeast. I hope you guys have an amazing night and day. And remember, be a blessing to someone else because you just never know that your kindness may be the only act of kindness that some people see. All right, y'all take care. See you soon.